that you were a Levi, you would be, meaning since, if you were a Levi, because Rishon Bar Yochai is not a Levi, Leviim would be the ones singing in the Beis HaMikdash. He's singing in the Beis HaMikdash. Mishum the Avi Kolach, because your voice is too heavy, it's too much of a thick voice, and a Levi can become disqualified from singing if his voice doesn't blend together with everyone else's voice. So you would be disqualified from singing in the Beis HaMikdash. Asa v'omer le'lavoy. So Rabbi Shimon went, and sorry, Shimon bar Rabbi, Shimon son of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, comes from David HaMelech.
What is it?
Sorry, Shimon bar Rabbi, Shimon son of Rabbi. He told his father Yehuda Nasi what Rabbi Chia told him. Omer told him, Zil Emelei, go tell him, K'shata magia eitzel v'chikisi la'Hashem, le'nimtzes mecharef u'megadef. Go back and tell Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia came from Babylonia. And there is a pasuk, a verse, which says, V'chikisi la'Hashem. Chikisi means I hope, I waited, I put my hope in Hashem. And since he comes from Babylonia, the ches and the hey are interchangeable, sort of like the Sfardim today, right? Which don't say ches, they say hey. Many different people. Chaim, right? Not Chaim, Chaim.
It's sort of like a different type of a hey.
Correct.
Yeah.
So now instead of the word saying the word v'chikisi la'Hashem, and I put my hope in Hashem, uses the word v'hikisi la'Hashem. I will hit.
Oh, yeah.
And say that towards Hashem is blasphemous. Is mecharef u'megadef. He's maligner and a blasphemer. Now, Chaim Sofer has a very interesting explanation on this whole entire exchange, but we won't get into it now. But so what he was telling us, here you're saying that I can't serve in the Beis HaMikdash because my voice is off. In essence, your voice is off because you come to these words and saying V'chikisi la'Hashem, and I hope to Hashem. Rather, you're saying V'hikisi, and I hit. Now, he has a question on this whole story. If let's go back to Masechta Tainis. I'm sure many of you remember about Rabbi Chia and his sons. All different people were davening for rain to come down, and they were told put Rabbi Chia and his sons to be the ones to daven for rain. And Rabbi Yehuda Nasi put Rabbi Chia to daven for rain. And the whole story, which is over there, very very unique story, but there was no one as worthy as Rabbi Chia. So if Rabbi Chia is mispronouncing the words, saying a ches and a hey and a hey and a ches, how could he let him be chazan? And what happened was he started saying Chazar Sashatz, right? And he started coming to the words Mechalkel Chaim, Hashem gives life. When he said Mashav Ruach, let the wind blow, a tremendous wind blew. Merid Hageshem, let rain come down, tremendous rain came down immediately. And in Shemayim, in heaven, there's an uproar because if they come to the part of Shemona Esrei where it says Mechayim Mesim, Hashem brings the dead back to life, the dead are going to come back to life. And it's not yet time for the Geula for Mashiach to come. And there was a tremendous uproar. How could Rabbi Chia be chazan now? Him and his sons. So they took Eliyahu HaNavi, because Rabbi Yehuda Nasi previously asked Rabbi Eliyahu HaNavi, what should I do that rain should come? Eliyahu HaNavi suggested Rabbi Chia to be chazan. So he told Eliyahu HaNavi, if Mashiach comes early, it's going to be all your fault. And so Eliyahu HaNavi, what it says in the Gemara, he was hit with a fiery rod many times, and he came all burning into the shul, and he disturbed Rabbi Chia from his tefillas. Everyone got scared, and then he stopped. Rabbi Chia went down from being a chazan. So Rabbi Chia was put as chazan. So how could he, if he's telling Rabbi Chia that you're pronouncing the words wrong. We're learning right over here. The people from Beit Shan and Haifa and Tivon cannot be chazan because they're mispronounced words. And tells Rabbi Chia that you mispronounce words. You're from Bavel. So how could he let Rabbi Chia be chazan? So you could explain it several different ways. First of all, the reason why you don't want him to be chazan is because someone who mispronounces the words. One of the reasons is that his tefillah won't be accepted, or people won't have kavanah. But here, Eliyahu Navi said to make Rabbi Chia as chazan is because his tefillah has more kavanah and will bring people to have more kavanah. Or Rabbi Chia, when he's being a chazan, he'll be more exact, more strict. Now, this exchange is a very interesting exchange. Rabbi Chia tells the Shimon, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, that if you were a Levi, you wouldn't have been allowed to be singing in the Beis HaMikdash because of your voice. He's not a Levi, right? So what's he telling him? That if you would have been a Levi, just say the halacha, someone with a thick voice, with a different voice, is not allowed to sing in the Beis HaMikdash. And also, he answers him back, like ashtach, meaning, and you're saying the words wrong, like who are you? You're saying the words better than me? Mm-hmm. What type of thing is that? Like, is it the way of Rabbi Chia and the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi to argue with each other? So, Rabbi Yaakov Emden writes, we see that those who are very humble, Hashem is very kind to them. For example, Hillel was very humble. People would scream at him. He would never answer back. And that's why the halacha is always like Hillel or Beis Hillel. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi was also very humble. There's many stories brought about Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi. He had tremendous pain. He never complained. So Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi as well, because of that, he was merited that he could write, that he was the one to be the author of the Mishnah. We learned yesterday about the Alter Rebbe and the Gra. The Gra was looking when he could write the Sefer, Shulchan Aruch. And the Alter Rebbe was appointed to the task by his teacher, by the Maggid Mizrich. And the Gra said, I wasn't given permission to write it from Shemayim. The sons of the Alter Rebbe write that in Shemayim, the heavens told the Alter Rebbe, appointed him with this task. One who runs away from honor, the honor will run after them. One runs after honor, honor will run away from them. So what is this exchange exactly? Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi was also very humble. Rabbi Shimon, the son of Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, was also presumably in a humble way. So what is this exchange that they're going back and forth? So we know about a Sanhedrin is not allowed to have any types of mumen, any types of blemishes. Sanhedrin, we had a story yesterday from Moshe Feinstein, if he was looking into if a pacemaker is a mum or not. So Rabbi Shimon ben Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi, he was one of the great people, one of the great scholars of the generation. So true, he would not be a Levi, he would not be allowed to sing in the Beis HaMikdash because he's not a Levi. But if Mashiach comes, he would be a member of the Sanhedrin. Mashiach will come at that time. And a member of Sanhedrin is not allowed to have a mum, not allowed to have a blemish. And therefore, he would tell him that since you have a very thick voice, which would be a blemish if you were a Levi, so true, you're not a Levi. And true, there's no Sanhedrin choir, which members of Sanhedrin all sing together. But since it would be a mum, if you're a Levi, you would be disqualified from being part of Sanhedrin because your voice is different than everyone else's voice.
That's actually, there's Rabbi Chia was telling him that, right?
So Rabbi Chia was telling Rabbi Shimon ben Rabbi that since your voice would be puzzle, would disqualify you from singing in the Beis HaMikdash if you were a Levi, therefore you will not be allowed to be a member of a Sanhedrin when Mashiach comes. So it wasn't talking about a theoretical situation, it was talking about a practical halacha. And so he answered back to you answered back to him, you also, Reb Chia, would also not be allowed to be part of the Sanhedrin if Mashiach comes now, because you also mispronounce a word. Ches and a hey and a hey and a ches. However, I want you to know that since you are Reb Chia, and Reb Chia is such a great person that says if the Torah would not have been given through Moshe Rabbeinu, would have been given in a later generation, Reb Chia would have been worthy. A Torah should be given by him. Reb Chia was the one who made Torah not be forgotten among the Jewish nation, because everyone is forgetting about Torah, and he went and he planted flax, he made nets, he trapped animals, he wrote down the Torah, he went from town to town teaching children Torah, and the children taught each other. So Reb Chia was somebody of such a great caliber that even if he has this blemish of ches and hey and ches, he's worthy to be a member of Sanhedrin, because the Shekhinah is resting on him. And not just worthy, he would be a Nasi. He would probably be the head of Sanhedrin. There's a Rosh Bezin and a Nasi. And Reb Chia, so he was answering back to him, Reb Chia, just like you would be worthy to be a member of Sanhedrin because of your greatness, so to me, if I also have a blemish, which doesn't disqualify you from Sanhedrin, but only disqualify you if you're a Levi, I would also be allowed to be a member of Sanhedrin. It could be the Reb Chia thought that maybe you could only be a member of Sanhedrin temporarily, like a fill-in member of Sanhedrin, but not a sitting member of the Sanhedrin. And Reb Shimon thought that since it's not a disqualification, he could be a member of Sanhedrin permanently. So that's a deeper meaning of this discussion. And although the last few minutes of the Shiur, we'll discuss a little bit about the day of today, which is Chav Zayin Adar Aleph, 27th of Adar. And this was the... Yeah.
Interpret scripture homiletically when they're changing the letters.
Right. They were saying, how would the Aleph and Ayin sound different? They would sound.
Well, so they could. It's no 23. I don't know 15. Rashi.
Oh, okay. That's a Gemara Mesecha Brachos. How he would describe, he could explain. A lot of times you have what's called a Kriyan Eksiv, a way a word is written and a way it's pronounced. And you pronounce it one way, but it's written in a different way. So sometimes Aleph and Ayin, and you could explain some words, some things to be like that. I mean, to explain it and to give an extra pirush, an extra meaning to the verse you're allowed to. So on the Chaf on the 27th of Adar Aleph, which is today in the year 1992, that's when the Rebbe had a stroke. Adar Aleph, 27th of Adar Aleph. On the 26th, now the Rebbe used to always, starting from the year about 1985, at that point there was one. The Rebbe used to go to the oil twice a month. He used to go on Erev Rosh Chodesh, and the Rebbe would go on the 15th day of the month. And when the Rebbe would go to the oil, the Rebbe would fast the entire day, and the Rebbe would be the entire day reading Panim, reading notes from Jews all over the world, davening. It was a very, very intense day. And when the Rebbe would come back very late, and only then daven Mincha Ma'ariv. Later on, the Rebbe started going much more often to the oil, and then the Rebbe went to the oil started going twice a week and later on 3 times a week to the oil. And when at one point the Rebbe went every single day, even on Rosh Chodesh. This is during the court case of the Sfarim, of the books. And when the Rebbe started giving out dollars on Sunday in 1986, the Rebbe at that point would go to the oil every Sunday and every Thursday, I think. And later, and the Rebbe would also say he would stay up the entire night after going to the oil because while at the oil he couldn't learn, so he would make up any missed learning time. The Rebbe slept, of course, very little. The Rebbe didn't sleep much to begin with. And you imagine the Rebbe, after a whole day of giving out dollars on Sunday, 5 hours, 6 hours, standing, bracha v'atzlacha, speaking to every person. The Rebbe was doing that all while fasting. And then the Rebbe would go to the Oihel after. And if dollars would finish, the Rebbe would finish giving out dollars 3 p.m., 4 p.m., or even later. So then the Rebbe would fast till the end of the day. Right? And the Rebbe would come back from the oil sometimes 11, 12 o'clock at night. And when the Rebbe would come back from the oil, then the Rebbe would go to Mincha, Ma'ariv, and then the Rebbe would many times say Sicha after. And there became became so much dollars. The Rebbe giving out dollars on Sunday, the lines and the crowds became bigger and bigger. It was getting so late in the day that the Rebbe changed it, I think at the request of other people, from Sunday to Monday. And the Rebbe would go to the oil every Monday, every Wednesday, and every Thursday, I think. 2 or 3 times a week, depending when it was. On Sunday, 26th of Adar, the first of Adar, Tafshin and Beis, 1992. So the Rebbe gave out dollars as usual. That year, at the Kinnis HaShluchim, at the conference of Shluchim, there was a hachlata, which took place in Kislev several months before. There was a hachlata, a resolution by Shluchim from all over that every week another city would bring a group of their people from the city to the Rebbe for Shabbos and to go by dollars on Sunday. And it was divided. The whole year was divided. Every Shabbos, a different city would bring a group. And Pittsburgh took upon themselves to bring a group on Shabbos Parshas Vayakel, Tafshin Nun Beis. The Shabbos of Parshas Vayakel, 1992. Which was the 25th of the first of Adar. Baruch Hashem, my father was very involved because what ended up happening was that it came about a week and a half or 2 weeks before when this group is supposed to go to the Rebbe, the Pittsburgh group. And he asked what's happening, and I guess no one realized who's supposed to be the one to run it. And my father said he'll get involved and do it. And he was told that he should wait another week, do it Parshas Pekudei. Then will be a bigger group. He spoke to my grandfather, Rabbi Yunik, who told him a story. In 1950, he was learning as a bacher in yeshiva in France.
And who told this story?
My father, his father-in-law.
Ah.
My grandfather, Rabbi Yunik. He was learning in France in yeshiva in Benoit. He was a refugee, escaped from Russia in 1946, together with many other Chassidim.
This was your grandfather.
Grandfather, right. And and they all escaped from Russia, different trains, different passports. However you could get out, you got out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he made it to France. He was learning in yeshiva, and France had opened up. He hasn't seen his parents in 5 years, since 1946, since he left Russia. He hasn't seen them. Their dream of everyone was to get a visa to come to the US to see the Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe. The boys in the yeshiva, they managed to get a visa quicker than others, and he got his visa to come to America, come to the US. And as after he gets his visa, 1950, he gets a letter from his parents that they're going to be coming to France in 2 weeks. They got a permit to come to France. He hasn't seen them in 5 years, but he just got his permit to go see the Rebbe in New York. What should he do? Should he go to the Rebbe right away, or should he wait 2 weeks, see his parents, and then travel? So there's mashpia in the yeshiva. His name is Rabbi Nissan Nemenov. And Rabbi Nissan Nemenov, a great chassid, he said, when you have a chance to go to the Rebbe, you don't push it off. You go right away. And that's what he did. So he went right away. They went traveled to New York. They came to New York. They arrived on the 1st of Shvat, Tafshin Yud in 1950. And they had Yechidus, a private audience with the Frierdiker Rebbe, him and several other yeshiva students, with Frierdiker Rebbe on a Sunday, the 4th of Shvat, Dalet Shvat, 1950. What happened 6 days later? Yud Shvat, who passed away? Who was his Stalik? The Frierdiker Rebbe was a Stalik, passed away 6 days later after they had the Yechidus. On the 10th of Shvat, that Shabbos, they had a Yechidus on Sunday, and the Stalkus, the Frierdiker Rebbe, happened on Shabbos. So therefore, if he would have pushed off his trip to travel to see the Rebbe, he wouldn't have seen the Frierdiker Rebbe, because that's the first time he saw the Frierdiker Rebbe, and he wouldn't have seen him if not for that. He only saw his parents, I think, a few years later. His parents went to Canada. Got a visa to go to Canada in 1952, I think, and that's when he saw his parents 2.5 years after that. But he didn't regret that, because he got to see the Frierdiker Rebbe. And so he told my father the same thing. When you have an opportunity to see the Rebbe, you don't push it off. That's it. My father put himself all into it. And they, he arranged, ended up being a very big excitement in the city. 3 full buses came in from Pittsburgh, one of the Chabad community, one of the other Frum community, one mainly from Russian Jews came in. 3 buses went in, many cars. They all were by the Fabringen on Shabbos, the 26th of Adar. The Rebbe gave my father a bottle of mashka, to use at a Fabringen in Pittsburgh. On Sunday, where everything was supposed to be orderly, they had a set time to go by dollars, dollars line, I think, was started 11 o'clock, maybe 12 o'clock. They had a brunch, and then everyone would go together to receive $1 and then go from the Rebbe and a bracha, and then go back to Pittsburgh, get back, everyone would get a good night's sleep, eat supper, eat dinner in Pittsburgh, and get to work the next day. But nothing went as planned. There was a person who arranged for them to, go out together as a group, backed down, wasn't there. They had to, wait in line, and they wouldn't let the Pittsburgh group go through. It was a little tense. It was like a sort of standoff for about 2 hours till finally the Pittsburgh group was able to finally go through. And they went by, and I wanted to bring up the video, but there's not enough time. I wanted to bring a video of the group of Pittsburgh going by the Rebbe. It's the last dollars, Chavav Adar Aleph. The last dollars that the Rebbe gave out. I'm sure some of you might have been there. Maybe you were there. Last time the Rebbe gave out dollars. And Baruch Hashem, the whole entire Pittsburgh group went through, but they left New York very late, and everyone was grumpy. They were hungry. When your father ran to a caterer, he paid him, I think it was $2,000 or $5,000 to serve everyone's dinner. So he hasn't got the money back, but he got many brachas instead. And a bunch of people are actually very upset with him. It's like, why do you take us this week? You should have waited another week. And why, the whole thing didn't work out because we had to wait in line so long. The next day, Chav Zayin Adar, which was a Monday, the Rebbe went to the oil that day, and at the oil, the Rebbe had a stroke.
That's the exact day that everybody had come back and complained.
The next day, right? They came back Sunday night. Happened while the Rebbe was at the oil, Chav Zayin Adar, in the afternoon. The Rebbe was at the oil. The Rebbe was always by himself in the oil, but there was every once in a while a secretary will go and to check, walk in, see if the Rebbe needed anything or anything urgent that happened. And he'll leave a note for the Rebbe. And he walked in one time, and the Rebbe collapsed inside of the oil. The Rebbe collapsed. So this picture, which is on the screen, is a picture the Rebbe on the way to the oil on that day. Chavav Adar Aleph. The Rebbe gave out coins at stuck on the way to the oil. and there's a whole series of pictures from that day. But the computer is wonky now. This one video I want to show from. This is at last dollars. Chaf of Adar Aleph, 26th of the first of Adar, where a girl goes by the Rebbe and says, "Rebbe of Lubavitch, I love you," and the Rebbe smiles, like the Rebbe's face lights up. And the Rebbe gives her. The Rebbe says, "Thank you very much," and gives her another dollar and says, "This is for the love." But looks like okay, worked before, but not right now. All right. Anyways, the Rebbe wanted to go back to 770, not to go to the hospital. All right, they called the ambulance. It was Hatzalah of Queens, which came, and they wanted to take the Rebbe to the hospital, and the Rebbe was still able to communicate. The Rebbe said no, and the Rebbe said, "You want to go to 770?" The Rebbe said yes, and the first ambulance, right? They brought an ambulance, and let's see if this works. The ambulance that they brought for the Rebbe, right? And they decided they could bring her to the hospital. Ambulance just didn't start. They tried fixing it. They called another Hatzalah ambulance. A second Hatzalah ambulance came, also from Queens Hatzalah, and they brought the Rebbe this time straight to 770. The paramedics from the first Hatzalah ambulance, they asked him, "How did he drive back home?" So we drove the ambulance back home. It worked. It went right back. So everything that happens to Rebbe is only with the Rebbe's agreement, the Rebbe's knowledge. And the fact that such a thing could happen, that the Rebbe spoke about, it was about something that could happen in the near future. Rebbe spoke about how the Frierdiker Rebbe was unable to speak. Let's see if this works. It's for making lunch. Not sure what's happening here. Not sure. Okay, all for a different day. But it's a very special day, and the Rebbe said, what we have to do, the fact that the Rebbe couldn't speak any longer, we have to make up a speech of the Rebbe. How do we make up a speech of a Rebbe? How could we speak? We don't have the same ability. But he says, by saying the words of Torah, reading the words of Torah of a Rebbe, watching and listening to sichos and videos of a Rebbe, that's how you're mashing to make up a speech of the Rebbe. Okay, so I guess we'll stop here and ask everyone's mechila, and Mr. Hashem will continue a different day. Shukayach.
Tomorrow, 10:30.
Tomorrow, 10:30 with Rabbi Darren, Mr. Hashem.
What was the story with the first ambulance you did about the Quran?
Again?
The story with the first ambulance.
The first ambulance, they wanted to go to the hospital, and it wouldn't start. The ambulance just wouldn't start.
What about the second ambulance?
The ambulance would take them to 770.
The ambulance would not. What?